Well, thank you for meeting with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Can you just go into a little overview about yourself, I guess?
Yeah, sure. My name is Melina Ressing. I graduated from ISU in 2016 with a double major in international business and accounting. From there, I did an internship with PwC and then got hired full time and was there about 4 years. And then in 2020, I left PwC, and since then, I've been working with Abbvie, which is a pharmaceutical company.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, Before I go into a little more about your career, I noticed you went to the double degree in Paderborn.
Yep. So I'm originally from Germany. And so that was one of the reasons why I chose ISU because I heard about the dual degree program. Because at the time I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in the States or not. So the dual degree program gave me the opportunity not only to graduate with a degree from ISU, but also from Paderborn, which would have been nice if I do wanted to go back to Germany to have a German degree. And it was really nice to get to do a study abroad for an entire year to like actually really immerse in the culture and be part of the university there
hmm.
instead of like just a month program or half a semester.
Yeah, I know some members were interested in I think the dual degree program in Nancy. Uh, I was actually considering going to Paderborn as well, but I decided to study in Florence for a
Oh,
semester.
nice. That's awesome. One of my roommates in college also did the Florence program. And I know she loved it. So yeah, Paderborn was great too. It was really nice because as a student you get a in your tuition, there's a train ticket that reaches all of Germany. So it was really nice because we had classes, I think, Monday through Thursday. So we could like travel and explore all of Germany and then also could go to countries around to explore some more.
Mhm.
So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Um, so what motivated you to pursue a career in international business um, and accounting, and how did your college experience affect your career, and what was the best takeaways from your major and everything?
Okay, so I started it out as an international business major, and when I started, like they kind of since it at the time was still relatively new, they kind of encouraged us to do a double major just to be a little bit more versatile. So usually they said, oh, you can do it with finance or with econ or something. And I had taken accounting classes in high school and I really liked it. So I was like, oh, how about accounting? And they're like, oh, sorry, that's like one of the only ones where we like highly discourage you to do that. I was like, why? They're like, well, accounting on its own is like already like pretty like hefty coursework, and then doing that as a double major, not encouraged. And I'm a person who's like, when somebody tells me no, I'm actually really going to do it. So I like sat down and kind of looked at the coursework and realized that actually, since they're both in the College of Business, they had a lot of requirements that overlapped. So not only could I like get credit for the IB major, but also for accounting. So I kind of sat down and mapped out like how it would be possible. But I wanted to graduate in 4 years too. So I should have probably made my life easier and did it in five, and then it would have been a lot easier. But I sat down, and then Dr. Ribbons was really helpful because she like always encouraged like study abroad, and she's like, how about you look into summer programs, because that's a good way to not only go study abroad but also get credits for that. So I ended up doing two summer programs, which helped me get a lot more credits to graduate on time, which was really nice. So then I actually did graduate in 4 years with both of my degrees. And when it came to internship time or like looking for internships, I was looking both at international business and accounting ones, but found a lot more for accounting than for international business. So I applied to PwC, and I got lucky that the person that was interviewing me was from their international tax group. So I talked to her and she was like, "Oh, that's really cool. Like, we don't really get a lot of people right out of college that have international business in their background, and that would like be perfect for our group." So I got lucky that I connected with somebody right out of there, and my summer internship was then in that group, which was really cool because they deal with taxes from like an international perspective, but the US has a worldwide tax system. So a lot of other countries just tax any income within their borders, but the US is like, nah, screw that. We're gonna get it from all our like citizens and companies. So we report foreign income to the US. So it was really cool doing that internship, and I actually really liked it. And the group that I was in did also data analytics a lot. So that was really cool to not only do taxes, but also like do a lot of data analytics and using Alteryx and data. Yeah. And yeah, from there I got hired full time. And ever since then, I've been in international tax and been loving it. And it's a very versatile industry. There's always changes. I started right when Trump rolled out the tax reform. So it was a great time to start in tax because kind of like from the partner down, everybody had to learn the new rules.
Hmm.
So it was kind of leveled the playing field. So it was really cool to start in a time where everybody else was like learning new. And now Pillar 2 is coming out. So there's always something to learn, which is great, which I really like about international tax that it's never really stagnant. There's always something to keep you on your toes.
Hmm. It's actually something I was going to ask about. How have you dealt with the changes since you started, and how do you adapt to things like that?
So that was the nice part about working at PwC. It's such a large firm and they have so many resources that you have a lot of lunch and learns, and you just have to keep up with the changes because the clients that you serve are also very interested in how it like affects them. And like, so it was really cool at PwC to work on different clients and see how different fact patterns would result different in different outcomes and stuff. And then now at Abbvie, the rules will apply to us. So we have to learn like how do we implement this, what resources do we need and stuff. So you just have to keep up with it. And there's so many like the big four always have like webinars that you can attend. So then that's always highly encouraged during lunch just to like listen into those. And also just like newsletters, and we have some subscriptions to like business journals and stuff. So it's more encouraged on your own to learn, but since we have to implement it differently, it's like a win-win situation if you like kind of try to keep up to date with everything because it will eventually affect you in one way or another.
And what are some unique challenges that you faced with working with clients abroad and having to deal with those changes and stuff like that?
uh I think time zones sometimes is like one of the biggest things is and then just like dealing with Europe, they're usually in August. It's completely dead in Europe because that's like prime vacation season. Where for us, this is like right going back to school, and so just finding time to talk to people, and you kind of have to be flexible enough, right? Like if you're trying to talk to somebody in Asia, you might have to either stay up late or get up early. Europe too, you might have to have some early calls, but it's pretty manageable. You just have to be flexible. I think that's the biggest thing. If you want to work in international business, if you are a routine person, might not be the biggest thing for you. You have to be flexible and kind of go with the flow, and something can change from one day to another. So you gotta be adaptable, I think.
Oh, that
Those
is
those
I think that is the heartline of international business, being able to be flexible and meet with all people of all different kinds. Have you has culture and that kind of nature, has that had taken effect on any of like the relationships you've made with clients and people? Like, is it difficult to work with? Not necessarily difficult, but is it an extra challenge to have to get past those cultural barriers with people that you work with?
I don't think so. I think that's why I love working at Abbvie and like kind of with all our like everybody comes to the table with an open mind, and we all have kind of like a common goal in mind, right? To have a successful project or something. So I think it's a give and a take. Like you have to be open minded, but also hopefully your counterparty too. And it's a lot about compromises or just explaining from what viewpoint you're coming from, and then but also giving other people the respect to listen to their point of view and kind of come to a middle ground. I think that's the biggest thing, where you have to kind of take a step back and be like, oh, we're used to this, but there's other people who have other viewpoints that you might have not even thought about. So I think you just have to be very like respectful, but also like be open to compromises and kind of like making sure that you're both having you have a common goal and kind of like work together, even though you might not have the same cultural backgrounds, but um you both do want to succeed. So, but I don't think it was necessarily a challenge. It's just might take sometimes a little bit longer or might involve a couple more discussions, but that's usually not too big of a deal.
Has there ever been a client um, or someone you've worked with that has been particularly interesting, or some project that you've done that has particularly interested you because of those cultural things or of that nature?
It's really interesting because since I work for our international tax department, we work a lot with our like local tax people.
Hmm.
So we had a big restructuring where we Abbvie bought up another company back in 2020. So in the last couple of years, we kind of had to integrate them into it. So it was really cool to work with people that are locally in those other countries, where we had to kind of be like, okay, we have two companies that are in the same country. Is there some synergies that we can build out by combining them, or like kind of transferring stuff? So it was really great to like talk with people who are like on the ground, and where we're like, oh, from a US tax perspective, this makes sense. And they're like, well, actually from like our viewpoint, that would be very like detrimental to what we want to achieve. So it was just great because I'm no expert in like Latin American like tax law. We were working with people in Chile and Argentina, and just having people on the ground there explaining you stuff was really like great, because I learned so much from that project. So I thought that was really interesting that we got to kind of, thanks to a transaction, learn a lot more about different countries and like local tax law that I would have probably never experienced if we didn't have that.
Hmm. Speaking of tax law, have you ever, so US obviously works with GAAP, but
Mm-hmm.
you have had to work with conversions with like IFRM and that kind of
Yep.
stuff?
Yeah. So we do have, so depending on which country, right, their books might be in local GAAP
Hmm.
versus, so then we have to work together with them and make adjustments to get to US GAAP, because our reporting has to be in US GAAP. But usually we can either work with them together because we had processes in place already, or we consult like big four accounting companies, kind of just to help us understand the differences and get to a common middle ground. But yeah, we definitely deal on that with on a daily basis, just because local books versus what we need for US tax purposes might be different. So you have to sit down and kind of make sure you have those adjustments in place.
Um, how do you keep up to date with those changes and the various types of things that you work with?
Think we do it as a group, right? I'm not the only tax person there.
Hmm.
So I might not be an expert in uh, the local accounting and stuff. So we either as a group find somebody who knows more about it, or we do reach out to advisors that can help us kind of like with their expertise and explain how we should implement it. So we as a group try to do that. So it's I can do it on my like could do it on my own, but we usually try to do it as a team, because just in case somebody knows something, that you can have some internal resources, or you have to go externally and get some help there. So that's what I
Hmm.
learned from like after graduation. Nobody expects you to know everything. So it is okay to reach out to somebody else because they might know more than you and help you find the right
Mhm.
answer instead of you trying to spin your wheels for hours. So yeah.
Yeah. How important did you say it is to make those kind of those teams and those relationships with people, especially with people abroad? And uh, how do you kind of make those relationships?
I think networking once you're out of college or even still in college is like one of the biggest things. The more people you know, the more people you can reach out to, right? You never know who you meet will come in handy like a couple years down the road. So networking, we at Abbvie have a lot of like internal networking. We do business trips where we like meet up with colleagues from different places. We have mentorship programs too where you connect with people from different areas in the company so you can learn more. And you just have to be open to it. You have to put yourself out there, right? Like there are these programs, but you have to apply yourself to it. You have to engage, write emails, like just walk into somebody's office and like be like, hey, I'm from tax. What do you do? I have no clue what you're doing, but do you have like 5 minutes to talk to me about something? So just being open and you have to kind of search for those opportunities. Nobody's going to be waiting for you to give you those opportunities. So just, and then there's so many other organizations. As a tax, there's TIE, which is the tax, I should know the acronym, but they have a bunch of like networking events too. They just recently had tax accounting workshops where people who are from the Chicago area came and like talked. So it was really nice talking to people from other companies and stuff. So there's plenty of stuff, trainings, conferences, all that stuff. So you just have to sometimes talk to your boss and be like, hey, like I found this opportunity. Do you mind if I do it? And 9 out of 10 times they won't say no. Or I haven't had bad experiences with that.
Is there any more advice for students who are interested in going down this path and a tax and international business and tax and um, getting into the industry?
I think career fairs are great. And don't just shy away just because it says accounting. I would still look into it and just talk to them and be like, hey, like I'm really interested in international business. Is that something that your company does? Or the big four, all of them have international tax departments. So that's a really great way to get in. But also like some mid-level accounting firms also have that. And also just like reach out to on LinkedIn, search for people who are in an international tax and kind of just send them a message like, hey, I'm like looking into this. What are advice or how did you get into your path? Because that's what I've learned. There's no traditional way to get into international tax. There's so many like different, we have people who are lawyers, people who started out in marketing and now are in international tax. And there's so many ways to get into it. So the more people you ask, the more advice you can get and kind of see what path might fit for you the best.
Hmm. Yeah, I know when I decided to do my specialization in accounting. I was one of the only ones in international business who have done that in recent years, of combining with accounting. And people don't realize that international tax and international accounting is actually very big and important for a lot of these international companies.
Yeah, especially with globalization, it's and like just with all these new tax law changes and this like worldwide minimum tax, right? Like there's going to be even more like jobs in the future with this because there's an additional layer of reporting now, right? Well, you already have so much on your plate in the tax department. You'll need more people to fulfill those new reporting requirements. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity. And I think people don't necessarily know about international accounting, but it's a very interesting and fast changing thing. So I highly encourage going into it because I've been in it. What I graduated in 2016, so a little less than like 10 years, but so I've seen in since I've been out of college so much change, which I really like. I never wanted a desk job where every day I do the same thing. So that's what I love about international accounting. It's might be accounting, but it's very fast paced. And
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
And
when people think accounting, oh,
yeah,
actually, I was doing accounting. They were all like, "Oh, accounting." But,
yeah. And you think about the people who just sit in their cubes, antisocial and stuff, and that is far from the truth. Just because you have to deal with so many different people from around the world, I think international tax accountants have to be actually a lot more outgoing than the stereotype. So you'll
mm,
see that there's a lot of big personalities, but who are really like very wise and have so much advice and to offer. So I really enjoy being in this career path slash industry.
mhm. All right. I think I just got one more question. What are do you have any goals for the next couple of years in your career or just in general for what you're doing?
Yeah, I think I just want to keep moving up at Abbvie, right? There's different levels. It's still, since I'm in a tax department, there is a kind of like the big four, right? You kind of move up the levels, and that's kind of where I made manager last year. And I kind of just want to like go up from there and maybe even do some rotations in some other tax areas just to be more well rounded. Because the higher you get, the more you have to understand not only international tax, but federal and state and use tax and all that good stuff. So just learning more and hopefully doing rotations in different areas to just widen and like broaden my knowledge of stuff and be more well rounded as a tax um, person, I guess.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with me. I really enjoyed your answers. This is really informative. Helped me personally. But
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hope everyone else will watch this video and think the same. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. No worries. And if you have any other question, please don't hesitate to reach out. I always am happy to give any advice or connect you with somebody. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome. Have a good one.